Hey everybody, I want to talk about my diagnosis with OCD. This happened about a year ago that I was diagnosed. Excuse me while I fill up my water. Before I do that, I want to tell you who I am. My name is Cody Ray Lee. It's three names, not two. Cody Ray Lee. I'm a singer, songwriter, I'm an actor. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I moved out here August 2021 to pursue acting. Here's all my dirty laundry. Actually, that's clean. I just need to fold them. I moved out here to pursue acting because in Dallas I was a worship leader, so I've been songwriting and leading worship for 8 years. And it finally just felt like it was time for me to really go after film, maybe music if it happened, and stuff like that. And stuff happened last year with some TV shows, which was awesome. Why I am sharing this story about OCD is because actually 2 months ago, I got cast onto a TV show, a reality singing TV show, of the name I'm not allowed to say, because I signed an NDA and they could sue me probably for millions of dollars. And I don't have that. I have 2 pennies that I rub together every day. So I was cast on this show. I was going to be able to tell my story plus sing, which has been the dream of my entire life, to sing songs in front of the world. And then I was going to be able to share my story of being diagnosed with OCD and hopefully be able to help some people. And because I don't just want to be an actor or a musician, I want to be able to help people through these crafts, through art, through singing, songs, acting. Anyways, I was supposed to be flown out in 2 weeks, but they called me last Monday and they told me that I was dropped from the production, so I would no longer be going, which was so hard to hear. And yeah, it was so hard to hear. I cried for an hour. Thank God my girlfriend was there because I just cried. I didn't know what to do. It was it was really rough because it's I'm 30 years old. My dream of my life was placed before me, and my whole summer in an instant is just like changed. So now I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm just gonna go back to my day job and keep working. And so now I'm making videos on YouTube just to kind of suffice this desire to sing and perform and all that stuff. But because the shows aren't happening anymore, I want to put this on YouTube to whoever will find this, either now or in the future. So in 2019, there was a situation that happened in my life that was extremely hard to process and to handle. And for 2 years, for every day for 2 years, I obsessed from the morning to the evening when I went to bed. I obsessed over this one situation. If this one situation could get fixed, it was a relationship. It was a close relationship. If this one thing could just happen, all my problems would just disappear and I would be at peace finally. And let's see, November of 2021, after I moved out here, I think just the moving caused everything to come to the surface of what was underneath. And after 2 years, I finally approached this situation and things got resolved and they were good. And it wasn't as bad as my mind told me it was for 2 years. And it was going to end my life, that it was going to be completely destructive and destroy a lot, like, of relationships and friendships and stuff like that. And it didn't. And what was supposed to be one of the best moments in my life, which it was a good moment because all my fears were realized that they weren't true. Immediately after that situation was resolved, a new thought of a different situation popped into my mind. And the same anxiety came with this completely new thought, this other situation, completely different. And all of a sudden, the fear that I was supposed to be released from by having this one situation fixed was immediately met with a new intrusive thought that brought on the same exact anxiety and feeling, guilt, all that stuff. And I realized in that moment what was supposed to be so good, like I realized I was like, I'm trapped. There's nothing I can do. Like I'm done for. This is the end of my road. And went through the holidays. I found myself constantly confessing things to people. Thoughts were popping into my head that were just outlandish, outrageous, things that I had never worried about or scared of or whatever, like started popping into my mind. And the only way I felt for me to get the tension to release was to go either be honest or confess or be in the light with someone about this, or say like I don't know, just say a thought came in my head that I wanted to punch someone in the face, like a specific friend. That thought, just like, even though I didn't want to do that, but this random thought popped into my head. This is just an example. I would feel a ton of guilt, feel shame. I'm like, I'm not even angry at them. I don't want to punch them, but the only way for me to feel a sense of relief from this is for me to go confess this to this person, and to tell them and try to get relief. So I found myself in this constant loop of confessing, relief, intrusive thought, confessing, and it got so absurd and never ending, literally, where in the past, me talking to a friend about something I'm struggling with was liberating. It was now becoming the bond, the bondage. Like, this very good thing was turned into something very terrible for me. And I didn't know what to do. And it was the most lost I'd ever felt in my life. And I've been through a lot of heartbreak and heartache and stuff like that. But the level of hopelessness was insurmountable to anything I've ever faced before. Because what was supposed to heal me was actually just creating more dysfunction in me. And I didn't know what to do, so I just started looking it up, like, why do I feel like I have to confess everything? What's going on with this? And then I started realizing there's people who deal with this, and it's OCD, and this particular one is like the terminology would be scrupulosity or moral scrupulosity. Scrupulosity being the obsessive fear that you've offended God, moral scrupulosity being the obsessive fear that you have done something immoral, and my compulsive behavior being confessing or being honest. And the past 8 years of my life, or 9 years, when I lived in Dallas, I was really looked up to by a lot of people because I was a very honest person, and I liked being honest, and I still am honest. I'm very honest with people, but somehow it got twisted, and it just got really messed up. And the reason I felt like I had to confess things was because I felt like if I didn't, God was not happy with me. I couldn't live the rest of my life in peace. I had to do something to fix myself, which is the exact opposite of what God, through Jesus, did for us. Like, we can't fix ourselves. That's why Jesus came, so that we could put our faith in him and receive his sacrifice and live at peace and wholeness. So anyways, I discovered, man, I'm dealing with some mental stuff, and I'd only seen this as a spiritual issue my whole life. I dealt with anxiety. I really started seeing it as soon as I moved out of my parents' house when I was 21. But I only ever viewed anxiety as a spiritual issue. But through this like obsessive need to confess things, I researched. I was like, man, I think this might be a physical thing in my brain that is causing me to feel the need to, out of every disturbing thought, do something in order to get rid of it. And it's just a never-ending cycle. So I found a website called NOCD. It's an app, and they have a lot of free resources. So basically, no CD, like Xing out OCD. And I got partnered with a therapist. I didn't have insurance, so I had to pay for it out of pocket, which is pretty expensive, but it was worth it. I spent a lot of money on therapy, just to try to regain a sense of agency, a sense of my feelings, my thoughts aren't in control anymore. I'm gonna be in control of my actions, and that's what I did. I went through therapy. We did a lot of exposure stuff. So like I had to listen to a lot of sermons about confessing my sins, which was absolutely horrendous and hard, because the most important relationship that I care about the most, like, is God. And I'm like, I have to listen to these things about like confessing, and it's like, oh my God, it hurts so bad. But then learning to realize, like, okay, this is just an emotion. I don't have to do anything to get rid of this emotion. And as I chose to just sit there and allow like the emotions to pass, I realized that they would pass, and they did. It took about 8 months of therapy for me to kind of come to these self-conclusions, and now I'm not in therapy anymore. I don't have a problem going back in the future if I have to or need to, but that's how I was discovered I had OCD, diagnosed, and what I did with it. And I'm really glad. I wish I'd have discovered earlier in my life that this is what was going on. I dealt with a lot of anger because I didn't, I didn't know that this could be dealt with, like physically, through like going to a therapist or going to someone who knows how to specifically help the person who is obsessing. But I'm glad I finally had that discovery that this was what was going on, because when I finally was able to put the label to what was happening in my brain, throughout my body, the physical sensations I was having of anxiety and panic or depression or whatever, when I was finally able to put a name to it, I was able to fight it. And that's like the first step you have to do in order to get on top of whatever you're going through, is to be able to discover what it is you're going through. And for me, it was called OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So I don't know if you want to know more about this, I can post more videos or whatever. But I want to be able to help people through this. And if you're stuck in a religious obsessive cycle, like, just know, like, the true gospel of Jesus is to liberate you from that. Like, that's what it's about. Like, that's why Jesus came. If you're having to do something in order to get free, like, you've heard the wrong gospel. So, grace, Jesus, mercy, that's what it's about. And I'm still learning. I still deal with anxiety. It's actually nerving to talk about this, even publicly, because this could go against a lot of people's theology and stuff like that. But I want it to help someone out there, because it's possible to overcome it. And even if you fall again, if tomorrow I wake up and I'm obsessing over something, it's okay, because I can put the things that I've learned into practice, and I can allow the emotions to be there, and I can move on, and I can thank God. So I hope this was helpful. If you've wondered if you know me in Dallas or whatever, and you're wondering where's he at, I moved to Atlanta, pursue acting, and pursue music. Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep doing this, keep going after it, keep working, and keep helping people along the way, because that's truly what I want, is to help people, but also want to have fun doing it. I want to freaking sing my heart out and act in movies and make people cry, like good tears, bad, I don't know, like, just, I want to move people emotionally. That's why I love art, because it moves emotionally. This is 15 minutes long. I'm clocking out. and I'm going to drink my iced coffee and go play disc golf, or frisbee golf, as some call it. But all right, blessings.